Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're talking about our top fantasy football sleepers for 2020. Specifically, we are giving you our top 6 super deep wide receiver sleepers. These are the wide receivers who are going to save you in this COVID fantasy football season, and you should target them if you want to win your draft, to win your league. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right meow.
Hit that drop. Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Football Upside. I am Justin. That is Kyle. We always like to start off by saying thanks for checking out our Fantasy Football Podcast and YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate it. And today we're going to dive a little deeper into the COVID Deep Sleepers. We released one yesterday for COVID Deep Running Back Sleepers.
Yep.
And these are guys that we're kind of looking at are at least past 190 overall, most likely.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. And what else you got for me, Kyle, before we get rolling right into this?
All right, guys, make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well as clicking that bell. That way you get notified every time that we upload the best fantasy football podcast on the internet. And there's no reason to delay any further on these fantasy football deep sleepers for 2020. And let's just dive in head first into the shallow end like we always do. And why don't you give me your number one wide receiver super deep sleeper for COVID season?
I still don't understand this one, Kyle. I really don't understand this one. And it's because it's Russell Gage of the Atlanta Falcons. He is ADP wide receiver 101, overall 301. I mean, he's really close to just not being ranked. And that was with a couple other ones that didn't have him ranked at all. And he's a third wide receiver in a super pass-heavy offense. We've talked about this before. We're thinking Matt Ryan, he may eclipse 700 pass attempts.
Yeah, it's possible.
That means a lot of targets.
Yeah.
And if he's a third wide receiver, maybe he's the fifth, maybe sixth option.
I'd say he's probably the fourth option. Ahead of the running, just ahead of the running back.
Just ahead of running back. I can see that. And one thing I always look at is Gage saw a pretty ridiculous amount of targets there towards the end of the last season. In 9 games, he saw 66 targets.
Yeah, I want to say he was averaging somewhere
yards.
Yeah.
And that was after Sanu was traded. So
7.33 targets, not yards, right?
Targets. Yeah, sorry. 7.33 targets per game. So, and that was after Sanu was traded. And Calvin Ridley was part of those couple games because he was out for injury, but I still think he's pretty valuable, especially where you can get him right now. There's been a couple other names that kind of popped up for the Falcons in a third wide receiver slot, but I think it's Russell Gage's job.
It's Russell Gage's job.
Yep.
That's exactly who it is.
Yep. Who do you got for me?
I have you're gonna love this one. I've got Parris Campbell. Parris Campbell going as wide receiver 73. He's presently averaging 194th pick roughly in that neighborhood. So not super, super deep, but deep enough that it qualifies for what we're talking about here. It's definitely outside of your standard draft range. And look, T.Y. Hilton, he's always got a tweaked hamstring, right? I don't know. He was in a foot race, I think, with my brother. They're neighbors. And so I think that Dan must have tripped him or something to win. I'm not sure. But anyway, T.Y. is he's always nicked up.
Well,
so you don't get a full
years,
game.
He's always been nicked up.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years.
Yep.
And basically what you've got with Parris Campbell is a bigger, faster T.Y. Hilton. Like, that's kind of what you got. But he's an over-the-middle kind of guy. Like, that's where his value is going to be this year. Mm-hmm. And you've got possibly Michael Pittman Jr., you've got T.Y. These guys are on the outside. So this guy presents current value, and I think that's why he's going a little bit closer to the draftable range, but he's being ignored. He's healthy now. He wasn't healthy last year. He's healthy now. I expect this guy to actually be somebody that is going to present value in the regular size rosters eventually, but you can draft him in those super deep drafts that are happening with COVID leagues right now. And I don't think that you would do that otherwise. You would be running to the waiver wire to get this guy at some point. But I really think he's going to present immediate value within like the first 3 weeks of the season. People are going to go, wow, why did we forget about Parris Campbell?
Yeah.
So
he had some freak injuries last year. I mean, when I say freak, they were some freak injuries that you just don't really see very often. And I mean, he was a second round pick for a reason. He was a stud at Ohio State. So I like that.
Wait
one a
one
lot.
second. I just want to interrupt. Like freak injuries, right? And then people are giving David Johnson like the whole moniker of being injury prone. A dislocated wrist or hand is a freak injury, right?
It really is.
Right. And
You don't hear that one too
that's the
often.
big one that he's had in his career. And so like, it just doesn't make any sense. Don't discount people because they got a weird injury, guys.
Yep.
All right. So who do you have as your next guy off the board here for you?
So for my next one, I have Greg Ward, Philadelphia Eagles.
There's a name you haven't heard in a while.
It's really not ADP, not ranked, and that's probably why. He was kind of a darling in in the kind of beat writer world when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they were always praising him, and Carson Wentz was also praising him as well. But speaking of beat writers, there's been a lot of whispers and words out there saying like he's been running with the first team in practice. He's been running with Deshaun Jackson and Jalen Rager right now, and it's Greg Ward in the slot.
Well, they got to have somebody there. Alshon Jeffrey's hurt.
Yeah, he's on the pup
so they got to
list.
have somebody. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I just want to warn you though. Don't get Jalen hurted because like I drafted Jalen Hurd 3 hours later.
Jalen Hurd.
Yeah, I know, but 3 hours later the guy tore his ACL. Which I don't mean to belittle the guy. I'm not going to give anybody grief over getting hurt. But I'm just joking that it's like somebody that beat writers were saying, hey, everybody forgot about this guy. And then he's out there running with the first team. And then he's not running anymore for a while.
You do get a lot of that training camp kind of buzz type things. And let's see what it's really warranted. And once again, this is such a weird year this year, guys. It's like, okay, we have no preseason games.
Yep.
I mean, what is that really going to look like? We can't really see these guys in action. So we do have to kind of go off the word of some beat writers or stuff like that. And, the thing with Greg Ward is he's got some rapport with Carson Wentz. And that goes a long way. If he trusts you, you're going to get some action. And it's one of those things where when it comes to not getting some preseason action, it's kind of tough to count on a rookie wide receiver named Jalen Rager. So why not throw Greg Ward out there and catch some balls for you? That's who I got.
I imagine he's going to present some level of value, at least a flex play at various points, if not better. Yeah. It's entirely possible. All right, so for my next player here, I have Steven Sims with the Washington football team. And this is somebody – it is very but look, this is somebody that people are slightly forgetting about as well. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Let me see here. What's his ADP? He's going right now. It's pretty far back there. Wide receiver 95, 290th overall position. And look, this last year he ended up getting, I think he played in 6 games. No, it was 4. He played in the final 4 games. He got 36 targets, 20 receptions, and 230 yards on that, along with 4 touchdowns. So they've got Terry McLaurin. He gets all of this attention, and it draws all of these guys away from these other receivers potentially. And this is a guy who very well could go right into the lineup in 3 wide sets as the slot receiver. People are concerned a little bit about, Antonio Gibson, he's there. Well, Riverboat Ron has already said that Antonio Gibson is a running back. He's not a wide receiver for them. Yeah, they're gonna put him in gadget plays and try to use him all over the field. I think they see Antonio Gibson as like a little bit more of a Christian McCaffrey type of player. So they want to pass to him coming out of the backfield, not coming out of the slot. And that leaves space for Sims to have a role in this offense right off the bat. And I'm sorry, you can't knock a dude for getting over 10 yards a reception in the final 4 weeks of the season. Yeah, it's a blown year, and they're just trying to see what they've got in the team. But
he flashed a little bit. Yeah.
Well, let's not ignore the fact that Gruden was gone at that point, right? So this is a team trying to figure out what they've got, but they're also now they've got Rivera there. He might look at it and say, no, this is somebody that Gruden was missing, that he wasn't paying attention to. And look, taking a guy way back in a draft, if you're drafting super deep like this is a guy people are going to run to the waivers for eventually, I bet.
Yeah.
He may not present consistent value the way that my first one, Parris Campbell's going to present, but he has a likelihood of being the wide receiver 2 or 3 on this team.
I mean, you can't really ignore the fact that I bet that Dwayne Haskins wasn't really starting for like most of the year, anyways. And guess who he was probably throwing to in practice?
Oh yeah,
it's probably Steven Sims.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't think it's a coincidence that towards the end of the season, whenever Dwayne Haskins was playing, hey, Steven Sims started to blow up a little bit. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So for my last one, I have Jakeem Grant, Miami Dolphins, and I got another one that's ADP NR. That's not ranked.
Yeah,
and it really has to do with a couple of players that were definitely.
I think I mentioned him to you the other day.
You did, and actually, that's actually why I started looking into it a little bit more. I was like, oh yeah, Miami Dolphins, yeah, Jakeem Grant, and it's like, oh, Alan Hearns and Albert Wilson both decided to opt out. Yeah. I mean, once again, don't blame you for opting out.
No.
But it's also one of those things where, well, that just provides opportunity. And guess who's going to kind of slide right into a third wide receiver spot, behind Devontae Parker and Preston Williams.
Possibly a wide receiver 2 spot. Don't
jumping the gun right now. You're jumping the gun on me, right?
I'm stepping on you.
Hey, step back, bro. Don't tase me, bro. You're getting ready to say Preston Williams is coming back from a torn ACL.
Yeah.
Everybody comes back differently from that, so you just don't know exactly what you're going to get.
Undrafted Preston Williams. He's coming back from a torn ACL. Yeah.
Character concerns were why he was undrafted. We've had this conversation, Kyle. He was very much gifted. Thank you very much. But when it comes to, segue into injuries, Jakeem Grant has definitely had injuries in the past, and that's kind of why it's kind of stopped him from being really fantasy relevant. And if you're in a league that definitely counts return yards, that's a plus here because he is one of the main returners for this team. Maybe that kind of goes away a little bit if they really want him to count on him as a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3. But he's one of those guys that at any one point with the ball in his hands, he can take it.
Yep.
He's a short, stocky, bowling ball type player. So that's my last one. Who do you have for your last
one? All right, for my last wide receiver super deep sleeper.
Super deep.
Yep, super deep. I've got Andy Isabella of the Arizona Cardinals, wide receiver 84 overall right now, and then 237th average draft pick. So that's
we went deep on these, Kyle.
Yeah, no, they're pretty far down the board here, guys. Yep. So look, don't go drafting these guys in your 12-team, 16-round draft. These are the guys you're gonna pick up off the waiver wire when when you realize Geronimo Allison is not going to get thrown to, that kind of thing. But yeah, don't draft Geronimo, guys. Don't do that either. Yeah.
You've had to watch him for too many years.
Yeah, don't be that guy. All right. So look, Isabella is going to he's going to be wide receiver 3 ahead of Larry Fitzgerald. I think this year finally he passes.
Ooh.
Hey man, Fitzgerald is the elder statesman. He's done a great job. He's probably last year was probably his ceiling for what he's got left in him.
Yeah,
really, truly. And that was, I want to say it was around 40 catches. I'd have to double check. It was north of 40, but I don't recall the exact number. Isabella is super fast, and they're in a air raid style system. They're going to run 3 and 4 wide sets constantly. There is only one team, in my opinion, in this league that's going to challenge Atlanta for the most pass plays run this season, and that is Arizona. They want to run 700 plays every friggin' game, guys. And so
they really do.
DeAndre Hopkins is new into the system. Christian Kirk is solid. Both of those guys are going to be on the outside, and Isabella is going to play out of the slot. And in an air raid system with Cliff Kingsbury, he's going to get looks. He's going to be featured prominently in mesh concepts. He's going to get a lot of wide receiver bubble style screens. That sort of stuff is going to happen. Yeah. They're going to try to get him the ball in space because his speed is his major talent. Think of him kind of like Tyreek Hill in that respect. He's not as fast as Tyreek Hill, but he's definitely a fast guy.
They're going to try to find ways that the Kansas City Chiefs get Tyreek Hill the ball. They're going to try to find ways to get Andy Isabella the ball. I get you.
Yeah, and whereas Kirk and Hopkins aren't necessarily going to beat you with their speed. They're going to beat you with their talents as wide receivers in route running, finding space, that sort of stuff, bending routes, everything like that. those guys are talented at what they do, and that's why they're on the field all the time. Isabella's not going to be on the field all the time, but he is going to get a lot of work. He's going to get a lot of targets, and he's going to present a value to you right off the bat, I believe, in an offense that should play from behind a lot and need to score points. So
I don't really think they've improved their defense. So, yeah.
No.
And if any inclination of what Cliff Kingsbury's done in the past when it comes to coaching, he doesn't really coach.
Well,
very good
okay,
defenses.
so who is it? It's San Francisco plays Arizona week 1, and right now I think the anticipated price in DFS for George Kittle is over $10,000 out of the budget.
And it's still probably a good value.
Yeah, for a tight end. Oh yeah, but that's because they gave up, I think it was the average score against them was tight end 1 value. Like tight end 1 overall, not just it's a tight end 1, the guy you could
overall,
like literally tight end 1 for the league last year. The average points allowed by Arizona to tight end was the tight end 1 value.
Yeah, at one point,
so if you just streamed
tight ends,
but if you just streamed and you had the ability every week to only start the guy facing Arizona, you had the best tight end in there. Yeah. And that ain't changing this year. That I'm aware of, guys.
I don't know exactly who they brought in to change that. I don't know.
Not enough. No. So that's it. That's our 6 wide receiver super deep sleepers for the COVID season, guys. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well as clicking that bell so you get the best fantasy football podcast every time we upload it. I'm going to go ahead and throw some of these sleeper episodes up on the screen here for you so you can click them. These are recent sleeper episodes. None of them overlap with anything in each of them. There are various levels of depth for sleepers. And thanks again for being a fan of the Upside. We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Bye.